We're running a marathon at a sprinter's pace and it's taking a toll.
The finish line keeps moving and the cost is mounting.
Multitasking is praised, self-care is postponed.
We wear exhaustion like a badge, skipping meals and sacrificing well-being.
Content creators feed the algorithm trapped in endless production.
Office workers chase deadlines, entrepreneurs juggle anxiety, and innovation students fear a single missed grade.
This is the new normal, a relentless pace, glorified as ambition.
The to-do list grows before our feet hit the floor.
Eyes barely open, we reach for our phones, already behind on emails and notifications.
The race begins before dawn with the alarm's harsh buzz.
The standard was never real and the emotional weight is crushing.
When we fall short, we blame ourselves, trapped in comparison and self-doubt.
We're present for everything, engaged in nothing.
Always connected, yet more disconnected than ever.
Reality is a blur. Commutes, calls, fast food, and constant multitasking.
We're told the right mindset and planner will get us there.
Every post suggests this life is not just possible, but required.
Social media flaunts curated perfection, fueling impossible expectations.
We're sold the illusion of having it all. Career, family, fitness, serenity. We're facing a public health crisis born from our definition of success.
The tools meant to help, phones, laptops, keep us on edge.
Chronic fatigue leaves us less resilient, more anxious.
Sleep disorders are rampant. Our minds can't switch off.
Workaholism blurs dedication and obsession.
Anxiety and depression are rising, fueled by constant pressure.
Exhaustion now touches every industry and age.
Burnout is everywhere, no longer a niche problem. The daily grind leaves little room for meaning or rest.
Personal exposure and emotional labor lead to burnout.
The grind is endless, creativity and joy lost to exhaustion.
Creators must always be on, performing for the algorithm.
Students treat grades like a full-time job, sleep sacrificed for study.
Entrepreneurs juggle every role, fueled by coffee and anxiety.
Every message demands urgency. Productivity trumps well-being.
Office workers are glued to screens, lunch an afterthought.
The workday is a relentless performance from wake-up to collapse. The only reward for hard work is more hard work, the finish line forever receding.
We miss the present, trapped in perpetual pursuit.
But once never comes, the chase never ends.
Happiness is deferred, always waiting for the next big thing.
We collect accomplishments, hoping to feel enough.
The horizon keeps moving, validation always just out of reach.
Promotions, launches, and milestones always lead to higher expectations.
We chase achievement, equating success with self-worth.
The pressure is a collective force.
The echo chamber whispers that if you are not constantly striving, you are failing.
Choosing to prioritize rest can feel like an act of rebellion.
Technologies have created an environment where we are expected to be perpetually connected.
The tools we use are designed to keep us locked inside this echo chamber.
We're afraid of being seen as not as dedicated as everyone else.
Creating a powerful echo chamber of productivity. Understanding the anatomy of burnout, the exhaustion, cynicism, and loss of efficacy is the first step toward recognizing it.
Constant pressure, lack of control, unclear expectations, and absence of support create the perfect breeding ground.
Burnout is a response to chronic workplace stress, a result of a system that demands too much and offers too little support.
Accomplishments feel empty, eroding self-esteem.
Productivity plummets, tasks feel monumental, leading to a vicious cycle of self-doubt.
A diminished sense of accomplishment makes you feel ineffective.
Detachment strips away meaning, leaving you physically present, but mentally checked out.
Exhaustion deepens, replaced by cynicism and a loss of purpose.
This exhaustion signals drained internal resources.
It begins with energy depletion that sleep can't fix.
Burnout is a profound state of exhaustion, a slow process creeping up unnoticed. This creates disconnection and emptiness. The anxiety of always being on is leaving us more stressed and unfulfilled.
Or I'm out with friends, but mentally composing an email.
This anxiety keeps us glued to our screens, sacrificing our peace of mind. This always-on culture robs us of our ability to be present.
If I'm not the first to reply, I worry people will think I'm not dedicated enough.
Physically, this anxiety can lead to real symptoms. This pervasive anxiety shows up in both our minds and our bodies. This always-on culture is a primary driver of anxiety. Our smartphones have become digital leashes. They are a stark reminder that our relentless pursuit of an impossible ideal is having devastating consequences for our collective mental health. When the pressure to shine brightly leads so many into darkness, it's a clear signal that we must fundamentally change the way we live and work.
The statistics on rising depression rates, they aren't just numbers. They're millions of stories, millions of people in pain and isolation.
This internal criticism only deepens the depressive state, creating a downward spiral that's incredibly hard to escape without help. This is the hidden cost of our modern definition of success. Behind the impressive titles and the curated social media profiles, so many people are silently struggling with a profound sense of despair.
There's also this constant feeling of worthlessness and guilt. I blame myself for not being able to just snap out of it, for letting people down, for not being the productive, high-achieving person I think I'm supposed to be.
When the world turns gray, even the simplest things, like getting out of bed, taking a shower, or making a meal, can feel impossible. Concentration, forget it, and making decisions just feels overwhelming.
The exhaustion and cynicism of burnout create a sense of hopelessness, a belief that things will never get better. This feeling of being trapped, with no way out, is a hallmark of depression and a sign that someone's coping mechanisms have been completely overwhelmed by the crushing weight of expectation.
When your whole identity and self-worth are wrapped up in your professional success, any mistake or setback can feel, honestly, catastrophic.
This clinical condition is a serious consequence of a culture that pushes individuals to the breaking point without offering a safety net. The link between workaholism, burnout, and depression is well documented by experts. The same drive that society praises as ambition can, if it's not balanced with rest and self-compassion, become a pathway to mental illness.
Depression is more than just feeling sad. It's like this emptiness, you know? A loss of interest or pleasure in things I used to love. The world, which once seemed full of color and possibility, just turns kind of gray and dull.
And for many, the endpoint of chronic stress and burnout isn't just exhaustion, it's a descent into depression. The relentless pressure to achieve, mixed with that constant feeling of never being good enough, can slowly erode a person's mental resilience, paving the way for a much darker experience. The breaking point is the final desperate roar. It's a terrifying and deeply isolating experience, a moment where the illusion of control is completely stripped away. It's the rock bottom from which there's nowhere to go but up, marking the painful end of one chapter and the forced beginning of a new uncertain one.
These breakdown moments are the painful, inevitable result of ignoring all those earlier warning signs: the headaches, the sleepless nights, the growing cynicism. Those were the quiet pleas for a change.
These aren't just signs of stress. They're distress signals, biological alarms screaming that the system is critically overloaded and on the verge of collapse.
Or maybe it's a panic attack in the middle of a meeting, your heart pounding, your breath catching, and this irrational sense of doom just takes over.
The physical side can be just as scary. You might fall asleep at your desk, not because you're just a little tired, but because this sudden, overwhelming exhaustion just knocks you out and you can't fight it anymore.
The ability to process, to feel, to even form a coherent thought is gone. This isn't rest, it's a system shutdown. It's the mind's last resort, a forced power down to prevent catastrophic failure. The person who was once a master of multitasking and problem-solving now struggles to remember what they were supposed to be doing, lost in a fog of profound mental fatigue.
For others, the break is quieter but just as devastating. You find yourself staring blankly at a wall for hours, your mind totally empty. No thoughts, no plans, nothing. The world outside keeps moving, but inside, everything has just stopped.
It's a moment of complete and utter surrender, the body and mind finally refusing to carry the impossible weight any longer. The carefully managed professional collapses into a weeping, vulnerable human being.
For some people, it happens in the sterile quiet of an office stairwell. You just need a moment of privacy, and then suddenly, the floodgates open. You're crying, like really crying, finally letting out all that stress and anxiety and exhaustion you've been holding inside.
There comes a moment when the pressure just, becomes unbearable. It's not always a slow decline, instead, it can be a sudden, sharp snap. The facade of coping, so carefully constructed over months or even years, shatters in an instant. This is the breaking point, but a mask can only hide the truth for so long. The person underneath is forced to confront the reality they have been desperately trying to avoid.
We wear the mask even when we are alone, pushing down feelings of overwhelm.
This performance is often for ourselves. We desperately want to believe in the illusion.
This disconnect between the curated public image and the messy private reality creates a profound sense of loneliness. You feel like an imposter in your own life, terrified that someone will see through the facade.
People go to extraordinary lengths to maintain this image, omitting the hidden work stress.
The mask of success is heavy, and the emotional labor required to keep it in place is immense and draining.
While celebrated as leaders, many are privately battling anxiety attacks.
This mask says, "I've got this, I'm thriving under pressure."
Behind the polished profiles, many are wearing a mask. This is the mask of success. These confessions from the edge reveal a conflict between external success and the internal need for well-being. They are the human faces behind burnout, anxiety, and depression. These are the outcomes of a culture pushing people to the brink.
An entrepreneur who sold his company for a life-changing sum admitted the years of grind destroyed his marriage.
A student recounted the pressure to maintain a perfect academic record.
A graphic designer shared her story of burnout. The creativity that had once been her greatest joy had become a source of trauma.
Their stories offer a stark look at the human cost of our modern work culture.
The first step reconnects the individual to a network of support, reminding them that healing is not something you have to do alone.
This act of reaching out opens the door to connection.
It is about learning to help yourself by letting go of the perfectionism that fueled the breakdown.
Seeking help also means learning to accept that healing is a process, not a destination.
It's a slow process of being seen, heard, and understood.
For many, this first step leads them to therapy.
Taking off the mask and revealing the struggle underneath requires immense strength. This single act is the pivot point, where the downward spiral of isolation begins to reverse.
I need help! Once the cry for help has been answered, the work of recovery shifts toward building new tools. It's about rewiring thought patterns that led to burnout.
Mindfulness, journaling, and digital detoxes are key.
This creates space between stimulus and response.
Journaling helps process emotions.
Digital detoxes set boundaries with technology.
These tools build resilience from the inside out, replacing toxic habits with practices that nurture peace and self-worth. This cultural transformation is still in its early stages, and it faces resistance from old guard mentalities that still equate long hours with high performance. However, it represents a hopeful trend, a recognition that the long-term success of any organization is inextricably linked to the health and happiness of its people.
When employees feel supported, trusted, and cared for, their engagement, creativity, and loyalty increase. A workplace that prioritizes wellness becomes a place where people want to be, not a place they're constantly trying to escape from.
This shift is not just about preventing burnout. It's about creating a culture where people can truly thrive.
These are practical, structural changes that acknowledge the cognitive and emotional toll of the modern work environment and seek to create a more sustainable and humane way of operating. It's about designing work around people, not the other way around.
And it means reevaluating the use of communication tools like Slack and email to reduce the pressure of constant availability. Some workplaces are implementing, no meeting Fridays or focus hours to protect employees' time and reduce digital fatigue.
The physical and digital environment of work is also being reconsidered. This includes designing office spaces that encourage collaboration, but also provide quiet zones for focused work and relaxation.
Leadership plays a crucial role in this transformation. When managers and executives openly discuss mental health, take their own vacation time, and model healthy work boundaries, it sends a powerful message throughout the organization that well-being is a shared value, not a sign of weakness.
Others are investing in mental health resources, providing free and easy access to therapy and counseling through employee assistance programs.
Some companies are introducing policies that actively encourage a healthier work-life balance, such as flexible working hours, the right to disconnect after work, and mandatory vacation days.
Yeah, and this really represents a critical shift. From viewing employees as resources to be extracted to valuing them as whole human beings whose health is paramount. This redefinition of the workplace, it takes so many forms.
Forward-thinking companies are starting to recognize that the well-being of their employees is not just a moral responsibility, but a strategic necessity. They're moving beyond superficial perks like ping-pong tables and free snacks and beginning to implement meaningful wellness programs that address the systemic causes of stress.
Individual recovery is essential, but honestly, the problem of burnout cannot be solved by individual solutions alone. The crisis is rooted in a toxic work culture, and for lasting change to occur, the culture itself must begin to heal. The final act is a story of quiet, powerful transformation. Individuals and communities are challenging the very definition of success. This new definition isn't measured by job titles or bank balances, but by the quality of life and depth of connections. This shift is visible in the choices people are beginning to make. We see it in the professional who takes a step back from a high-pressure career, reclaiming evenings for family and passions, and the entrepreneur who chooses to keep their business small and sustainable. They are courageous decisions to align with a deeper set of values. This redefinition involves a profound shift in our relationship with time. It's the joy of taking a long walk without a destination. Ultimately, this new definition of success is rooted in self-compassion. As more people embrace this holistic vision, they're lighting the way for a more sustainable future.
Each no is a quiet act of rebellion against the tyranny of more. It's a personal and powerful step toward reclaiming your life, your time, and your sanity, paving the way for a more intentional and less overwhelming existence.
It's the decision to let a non-urgent email wait until the morning. It's politely declining an invitation to a meeting that could have been an email. It's turning down a project that doesn't align with your values, even if it comes with a prestigious title.
This revolution is not loud or aggressive. It is a series of small, consistent choices made every day.
In fact, people often learn to respect your time more when you demonstrate that you value it yourself. The quiet revolution of no is about teaching others how to treat you by first treating yourself with the dignity and respect you deserve.
The first few times you say no, it may feel uncomfortable, even selfish. But with practice, it becomes empowering. You begin to realize that the world doesn't fall apart when you protect your boundaries.
This practice takes courage, especially in a culture that often equates no with a lack of commitment or ambition. It requires us to unlearn the deep-seated fear of disappointing others.
This isn't about being unhelpful or uncooperative. It's about being a responsible steward of your own limited resources. You can't pour from an empty cup, and protecting your energy is essential to being able to contribute meaningfully in the long run.
You're saying yes to your mental health, yes to your family, yes to your rest, and yes to the projects that truly matter to you. It's a tool for carving out protected space in a world that constantly seeks to encroach upon it.
Saying no is a declaration of your priorities. When you say no to a request that oversteps your boundaries, you are simultaneously saying yes to something more important.
The quiet revolution begins when we learn to say no without guilt, recognizing it not as an act of refusal but as an act of profound self-respect and